What is up guys, Andy Forrester Dean Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're sitting down and comparing the Adidas Takumi Sen 9 to the Nike Streakfly. So these are two of my very favourite workout shoes of 2022 and 2023, and I'm pitting them against each other. This is a comparison I wanted to do for such a long time. So I decided this week that one workout would be taken by the Takumi Sen and one would be taken by the Streakfly, just to remind me, because I haven't run this thing for months, but this is my second pair and I love these things, and if you're new to the channel and you picked up on these, you'll know I love these too. So today we're going to be going through some stats, how I tested them, the pros and cons, and which one is my favourite. So these shoes are both 5 and 10k road races from the respectable companies. Let's give you a couple of stats in terms of weight, stack height and stuff, so you can see how they compare against each other. We'll start with the Streakfly. Hopefully an infographic will pop up on screen with all the information, but it's 218 grams or 7.7 ounces, crazy light, 6mm drop, 32.26 I believe in this one. And then the Takumi Sen 9, we're talking about 258 grams or 9 ounces, so quite a bit of weight difference there. In still a 6mm heel to toe drop, we're talking 33 in the heel and then 27 in the forefoot. And this pair right now has 116 miles in it. So I'll share with you now how I tested the Takumi Sen this week. Obviously I've done loads of workouts in this thing, but this week in particular was a good cut down workout. It's extremely hot right now, so I did have to dial paces back, but I will put everything on screen so you guys can see. Started off with 2x4 minutes, and I treated those as sort of like some tempo warm-up intervals, hitting in and around the 5:30s per mile. Moved down into 5x2 minutes if I remember rightly. Both the 4 minutes and the 2 minutes were all off 90 seconds easy jog recovery, and the 2 minutes was just starting to rev the engine a little bit more. And then we had some leg spinners at the end where we put in 8x45 seconds, so they were good off 60-second recovery. And then I really hit the hammer down, or put the hammer down I should say, with 4x30 seconds at the end, again all off 60-second jog recovery, but they were all sub 5-minute mile pace. And moving on to the Streakfly, this was more sort of like controlled tempo work and then some short fast stuff, back to tempo work and short fast stuff. So we started off with a 10-minute interval, really just clicking into gear, again nice and hot, so really dialed it back a little bit. Surprised though with the pace, 5:38 per mile, 1 second off per mile what I was hitting last week in the two super shoes. I love this shoe, it's absolutely incredible. And once we got that one done, had 3-minute easy jog recovery and cut down to 5x50 seconds, all off 60 seconds recovery, easy jog. So we went 10 minutes and then 5x50 seconds and then back up to a 5-minute tempo interval where I think I hit 5:31 per mile, had a 2-minute easy jog recovery and finished off with another set of 5x50 seconds. And just a couple more stats before we get into the pros and cons. Overall on those workouts, 158 beats per minute average heart rate for the Streakfly workout, 159 for the Takumi Sen one, but the Takumi Sen one was over a mile longer in duration. So both of them very close to each other. Relative scores on Strava, like effort scores, in favour of the Streakfly, which I'm quite surprised by, because actually if you look at the temperature that Strava recorded, it said I was running in 20 degrees in the Streakfly, which I would agree with if I'm honest. But the Takumi Sen one says it was 16 degrees, which I think is a load of rubbish, because I went out after 8 AM, whereas with the Streakfly, I went out at 6:20 AM. So although it was burning hot at 6:20 in the morning, it was hotter. For me, it felt warmer in the Takumi Sen one. So I'm not sure about those temperature scores, but either way, I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's now whiz through the pros and cons of both these shoes before giving you my favorite. Streakfly, quick build update or build overview. Very, very lightweight mesh all the way around. Bumper padding at the back there, nothing crazy. The upper is so light, it's unbelievable. Full length ZoomX midsole with a midfoot shank in the middle, which is around there. You can see if I fold the shoe up like that, the midfoot shank is literally in that middle section there. And then a bit of rubber outsole with some exposed midsole coming through at the bottom there. So there really is nothing to this shoe. But the midfoot shank really does a good job for me. I'm going to explain why in the last bit. My history with this thing is this is my second pair. This is a pair that were gifted to me by Nike as part of a promotional campaign when this sort of colorway came out. The first pair I bought with my own money. It was a prototype colorway. I got just over 200 miles in them and I had to retire them. My ankles started caving in, the foam really flattened. When I actually started running in these, because these turned up after I had about 150 miles in the old pair, I put these on, went for a run in these and noticed just how much the foam had compressed in the old pair. And I really, as I said, I was getting close to 200 miles, which if you think about it, is not a lot of miles. That's the only con I can say about this. For a taller 6'6" runner, in and around, I'd say 86, 87 kilograms, this shoe flattens out rather fast. But overall, I have never experienced such a lightweight shoe, bar the Puma Liberate Nitro. I can't remember if that one is as light as this, lighter or slightly heavier, but those two shoes are very much in the same realm of weight, I believe. But this is crazy light, and that's what I love about it. You just fly. You don't feel like you're running barefoot because the shoe gives you a lot, but there's a lot more ground contact feel in this shoe than the Takumi, but you do get that sort of sink and bounce. Doesn't last forever because it's a smaller amount of Zoom X, but you do get that lovely familiar feel with the Zoom X. A lot more ground contact feel though, and yeah, I've got to be honest with you, this is absolutely one of my favorite shoes. So the only con for me with this one is durability. And then we move on to the Takumi Sen 9, my favorite workout shoe of the year, and this is right up there for shoe of the year in general for 2023. What a shoe this is, absolutely love it. Delighted that Adidas finally made my size so I could test it out, and it was definitely worth the wait. A heavier package than what we see in the Streakfly, very similar as you can see in drops. 6mm drop. The main difference with this shoe, I'd say there's a little bit more to the upper, tiny bit more, still a very, very lightweight mesh, but you do have some laminate overlays going around the shoe just for a bit of structure, and both uppers I feel are comparable in terms of, like, I don't favor one upper over the other. They both fit nicely. It's the midsole where the main difference of these shoes are. So with the Nike Streakfly, you've got that sort of sink and bounce, that cush that you expect in the Zoom X, but also because there's less of it, some more ground contact feel. I don't necessarily get as much ground contact feel in this one, if any, but the midsole is firmer. But if you know what Lightstrike Pro is all about, it's a wonderful responsive foam that doesn't give you that sink and bounce that Zoom X does, but it does kind of propel you down the road with that lovely cushion. It's so hard to explain how it compares with the Zoom X. They really are chalk and cheese, but I think as someone now who's gravitating towards firmer midsoles, I have to say that this Lightstrike Pro really does stand out for me. The only con I can find in this shoe is potential early retirement in my run this week, and I had kind of noticed it in the last couple of runs, but I was kind of burying my head in the sand a little bit. My right foot, which is my weakest side, my ankle can sort of cave in a bit and then kick out when I'm tired and fatigued. I really noticed it in this workout this week, and it really did cause me some, not pain, but when I finished the workout there was tightness down the outside of my right leg where I'd really been landing and rolling in too much. I can only assume that my foot and leg isn't strong enough to handle this sort of cutout here. It was fine in the first 100 odd miles, but over the last 2 or 3 runs I did notice towards the end of workouts, as I got fatigued, I was getting a bit sloppy. My ankle really was rolling in, and I do wonder if this cutout here, this lack of support, is causing a little bit of that issue. So that is slightly worrying me right now. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I'm going to make sure I continue with my strength training as I always do, and maybe try some less intense runs in it to see if it's the fatigue when I get towards the end of a workout that's causing it, and if I'm less fatigued, if it feels okay from start to finish, or if it just does it on whatever the next run might be. But other than that, I can't fault it. Better grip in this shoe, Continental rubber on the outsole, definitely does a better job at gripping in all conditions. And yeah, just overall, this is just such a wonderful shoe. So now we've got the pros and cons out of the way. Which one of these two shoes is my favorite? Well, the history with the Streakfly for me, if I think about it in total, 300 and something miles in this shoe across both shoes, magic. And wearing this again today was an absolute beauty. I loved it, and it just lit that fire again as to why I love this shoe. So lightweight, you barely feel it on foot and you really move. I felt really good this morning and it was such a delight to run in it. The Takumi Sen brings me joy every time I do run in it. It's absolutely brilliant and the best workout shoe I've tried since the Streakfly. I think it's going to be really hard to choose. If I'm honest with you, I'm going to try and forget about the potential early retirement of this at the moment, just in case it was a one-off run. I have a horrible feeling it's not, but I'm going to try and forget about it. In terms of how I run, what I prefer, which one ticks all my boxes, they both do. If I had to choose one, Marginally, I would go for the Takumi. Marginally, we're talking such fine margins, and that's only because I am now preferring sort of firmer midsoles, and I love the Light Strike Pro. I love what the Streakfly offers you with the Zoom X, but it does bottom out a little bit quicker. And if I think about wear and tear in terms of degradation of the shoe and stuff, the Takumi Sen is going to last way longer. Like if you look at the base of the Streakfly after 130 odd miles, it really is chewing up. I remember at the start hitting 200 miles in the first pair, the front of my Streakflies at the top here was almost bowled with the grip. Probably because I was doing some drills and strides in it and stuff, which I am in this one, and this one's going quite bold too. So in terms of wear and tear, this one, durability wise, is going to last you way longer. This one is super fun to run in. Fine margins. I would go for the Takumi just, but I'm going to be honest with you, I feel very privileged to have both of them in my rotation, and I certainly won't be shelving either of these anytime soon, unless this one continues to cause me jip, then unfortunately I might have to. But overall, yeah, two fabulous shoes, and despite the, let's think about this, is it about 30 or 40 extra grams in the shoe? This is an absolute wonder, and so is this. But yeah, we'll give it to the Takumi just. So there we go, those are my thoughts on the Adidas Takumi Sen 9 and the Nike Streakfly. Both incredible shoes. I love them both. They're both amazing. But yeah, just give the edge to the Takumi. Let's hope it was a one-off with that run and I can get plenty more miles out of it, because it is just such a brilliant shoe. Of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter. Do you guys own both of these shoes? What are your thoughts on it? I know both of these shoes can now be picked up with a brilliant discount. The Streakfly's been out for a while. You can get that for well under £100 in many bargains, as I believe the Takumi 9 is now down to in and around 100, and some of you have told me you got it for less than that. So both very affordable shoes. Hopefully you guys can test them both out. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If you've got experience in both those shoes, do drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you in the next one. Until then.